Which actor slash actress ruins everything they're in?
Yeah, you already know my answer, but okay, I'm gonna try to think of The Rock,
Hmm.
obviously. Like, I just, like I said, Hollywood pushes him, and maybe he pushes himself on Hollywood. I don't know,
Hmm.
but I don't think so. Like, I feel like they push it, like they think he is this ultra uber talented actor, and he's not. He plays the same character in every freaking movie.
Hmm.
I would say the only other one, like he played in the Tooth Fairy for Pete's sake, and he was still the Rock in the Tooth Fairy. And I think for me, it's like so much of his personality is just tied up in being the Rock. And I
Hmm.
don't think he can personally, I don't think he can separate his ego from anything else.
Yeah.
Yeah, the Rock is definitely my number one choice. Um, I'm trying to think of, because that's low hanging fruit for me. You already know that.
Uh-huh.
Do you have one?
Oh yeah.
Okay, you go ahead. I'm gonna try to think of another one because I don't want to just use that one.
So I have been watching a YouTube channel called Space Ice. He does videos about 80s, 90s, early 2000s action movies, and he kind of exaggerates them like this. He goes into the building and it explodes. It's really funny.
Yeah.
Well, he does certain people like Jean Claude Van Damme, Arnold Schwarzenegger, some other ones, Rambo. I don't remember his name for some reason, but
Sylvester Stallone. Yeah.
yeah, yeah. And then there's Steven Seagal. he he makes fun of him relentlessly. Like he'll be making like Steven Seagal. I think Steven Seagal is just like The Rock. He plays the same
Yeah.
character. I don't think I've ever seen The Rock do a sex scene, but Steven Seagal does the most gross sex scenes ever known to man because he'll be doing it with like fully clothed with a naked lady that's like a quarter of his age, and then and then this like space ice guy will be like, and then in this car chase, he gets out to change the license plate. And then he puts it back on, shaves his sideburns while his body double explodes. It's just like because in the movies he like gets his body double to like walk upstairs for him because most of Seagal's scenes in his movies are sitting down. Like there's this one movie where he's sitting down the entire time, and he's like, I think which by the way you cannot. His voice is damn near inaudible. So like sometimes they'll have someone off the street come in and dub over him because it sometimes his voice will sound nothing like him, and that's why because they have to have someone dub over him. And then it cuts to the actual people doing actual action and stunt work and stuff, and then it cuts to him sitting down and the other person he's talking to is talking about how great Seagal is. That's just because okay. Here's a typical layout for a Steven Seagal movie. First, a strip club right in the opening scene. Then we're driving. He's on his phone, and all of the strippers are, "Hey, I can't wait to see you tonight. Just another day in Steven Seagal's life." And then he goes off to the monastery. He kills a bunch of people with his classic no look while shooting. That's kind of his like funny thing because he's like closing his eyes while he's shooting, and he's like, yeah, uh, putting his like gun around corners without looking where it's shooting, and it's just hilarious. And like that whole like license plate thing that I was talking about, it's like he'll get in a car, he'll get in a car, and then the scene will like change. The license plate is off. The scene will change again. He goes around the corner. There's a different license plate than the first one. Then the first one is back on. Then it's off. It's like the weirdest stuff. And yeah, his movies are always the same. There's always some like partner that he has. Oh, and by the way, he's always CIA, FBI in some
Yeah.
foreign country for some reason because that's what the CIA and FBI does. Um, which, according to him, actually happened. According to him, some of these movies that he's made are actual like retellings from his life. Which, if you know anything about Steven Seagal, he has like I want to say like in the hundreds of like sexual assault charges, and just just lies about everything. He
I didn't know that.
he'll claim he'll
That's
claim to
terrible.
be like African American one day, and then he's Indian, and then he's Russian, and then there's him standing next to Vladimir Putin, shaking his hand. You know, just kind of that kind of stuff. He's just man. Yeah, I think he just ruins everything he touches. It disintegrates to ash, to atoms. I just think that he's not in Hollywood anymore as far as I know. He's kind of does his own money laundering movies that nobody watches. So, yeah, Steven Seagal was my answer.
Yeah, Steven Seagal, man, his movies. Like I remember my dad would watch them growing up, and like even as a kid, they're just like over the top. They're over the top bad,
Hmm.
and it's like okay, so I will say this, and I don't agree with. I've seen people talk about because I've seen people make the comparison of Steven Seagal and Chuck Norris because they have like a lot of similarities, and I
Hmm.
don't agree with it because I absolutely love Chuck Norris. I think Chuck
Hmm.
Norris jokes are the funniest things ever
Uh-huh.
invented in this life.
Hmm.
But like, I do see like certain similarities. Like he's always like the good guy, you know, and he doesn't talk very much, and like he has a low voice, and you know, and like, and I love Chuck Norris. I think he's a great guy,
Hmm.
but and that's not my choice. But like I Steven Seagal, man, he's and like Chuck Norris. It's just a difference, I think, of like a good person who maybe doesn't like have the acting chops as like I don't know. Um, man, I'm spacing on names. Oppenheimer.
Cillian Murphy.
Yeah, Cillian Murphy. You know, and I think he's one of the best actors out there. Maybe they
Hmm.
don't have quite the acting chops. They're like a good person, and like they, you know, they make a good fun movie to watch. But
Hmm.
no, I think the Rock is obviously mine. I mean, I could pick John Cena because I think John Cena is exactly the same as The Rock. Any of the pro wrestlers that went into acting, I think, are exactly the same.
Hmm.
But I think, oh man, it's tough. Like I don't know. I'm gonna have to say, and I love him, and it hurts me to say this, but I see Arnold Schwarzenegger exactly the same way, dude.
Really?
And he has great movies,
Hmm.
but plays, and maybe it's not the same question. Like I don't think he actually makes the movies worse for being in them, but I think he plays the same character in every movie. And I
Hmm.
just think so many of those people that are like huge bodybuilders and like their whole ego is tied up in their size, you
Hmm.
know, I just feel like they do like they act the exact same way. Like their body is there, but like they don't really. I don't know.
Yeah.
It's a hard question for me because I don't know. I tend to like really have like a soft spot in my heart for certain actors. Like I could say Nick Cage. You know, Nicolas Cage is
Hmm.
another great example. But I love National Treasure. Like it's one of my favorite movies, and like, but it's one of the only good movies he ever did. So I don't know. It's a tough question for me.
Hmm.
I can't really decide. I'll probably have to say Nicolas Cage if I'm being 100% honest. But I don't know.
Okay.
It's hard to beat The Rock. The Rock and Gal Gadot are probably the two like biggest ones I would say, the most egregious ones.
Hmm. Yeah, I feel like Gal Gadot especially this kind of gets more stale as time goes on.
Yeah,
Especially if you've been watching the DC movies from Batman versus Superman to The Flash. She's just
yeah,
straight face, nothing there. So,
yeah. I think those two are definitely like male and female in Hollywood. Those are the worst ones I
hmm,
would say. But
yeah.
I don't know. It's hard to beat Steven Seagal though. So